trade talk is top of mind right now. So it got me thinking, what are the most untradeable contracts in baseball? And I've got 12 of them that we're going to go through in this one. Make sure to hit that like if you enjoy your time here. Subscribe if you're new. And let's get started. Now, we're going to be using baseball trade values, their evaluation of players, and just how negative or underwater players and their contracts currently sit. So let's begin. Number 12, it's Dansby Swanson. And the panic level here has to be rising in the Chicago Cubs front office. This is his OPS over the last 3 years. While the defense is still solid, this man is going backwards offensively, and that can't remain, especially when you've got $28 million over the next 3 years. Then it just goes down slightly to 27 and 26 million, but you have him through the 2029 season, and this bat cannot start regressing already. He has a negative $40.5 million trade value on the Baseball Trade Values website, which means if you were to try to trade him, you would essentially have to include your top prospect just to get back to zero, which obviously is not going to happen. But again, just trying to give you some context to what negative 40 means. Let's move on. Number 11, and it is Christian Yelich. Panic level is high here. As you can tell, we're going to be going through some panic levels. We had rising for Dansby Swanson. We have high for Christian Yelich. We'll be going through all of them. Christian Yelich, the man he was before that extension, is not the man he is today. Now, 2024, we did see that OPS creep back up closer to what we had seen in the past. We did not see the power return, but we saw a bat that can do some damage. But 2024 was shortened due to injury. So, I mean, are we going to have to battle injuries and a much lighter stick than we expected the rest of the way? I mean, we still have $22 million on the table for the next 4 years with Christian Yelich. This is, I mean, $22 million for the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Mets would be no big deal. But for the Milwaukee Brewers, this is massive, and it's not going well. His baseball trade values valuation is at negative $42 million. In at number 10, it's Trey Turner. Might be surprised to see Trey Turner on here. This is, again, all about baseball trade values and their valuation of players and contracts and value. But what's going on with Trey? Again, we had the panic level is at a low level right now. But look at what we're seeing over the last couple of years. This was a high 800s or in the 900s OPS guy with the Nats. He has not been that since he left there. So there is certainly a drop-off that has occurred, and you wonder if he can bounce back. He's currently looking at $27.2 million per year through the 2033 season. Do you really think this is going to play out well for the Philadelphia Phillies? The answer is no. He currently sits with a negative $46.5 million value based on baseball trade values valuation. In at number 9, Joe Musgrove. This one is another low one, but we do have an issue here. Look at this. We're dealing with a injury-prone Joe Musgrove, and he's not going to pitch in the 2025 season. 17 starts in 2023, 19 starts last year, 0 starts coming in 2025, and this is a guy that's making $20 million a year, and they're just not getting the number of starts out of him. And with this new era that San Diego's entering without Peter Seidler, writing checks, cutting checks, this is kind of an issue. But when he's out there, He's great. And $20 million for a top of the rotation starters, not a bad deal. But with the injuries, there's a problem here. He sits with a negative $48.7 million value. In at number 8 is Giancarlo Stanton. And this is high. And this is probably, of all of these, the one that has fluctuated the most. At times, it was extreme. At other times, it's low. We'll put it sort of past the midway point. We'll put it at high for Giancarlo Stanton. You see what's been going on lately. The games, the injuries, that's been a big problem. Trying to keep him healthy is a major concern year in and year out. He's no longer a 50-homer guy, and that's part of the problem. Yankees fans, when you signed Giancarlo Stanton or traded for Giancarlo Stanton and took on that contract, you're like, okay, 50 homers a year, let's go. And that has not been the case. There have been a lot of strikeouts. There's been a lot of injuries, and that has been trouble over the years. Now, here's the good news. And this is why his valuation on baseball trade values is negative 56.4. It's actually coming down because look at the dollars. This is the last year where he's making a significant amount of money. $32 million this year, then it goes down to 19, then it goes down to 15, and then you can be done after the 2027 season. So there is an end in sight. But again, we have the negative 56.4 value for Giancarlo Stanton. In at number 7, it's Trevor Story. And this I'm giving a high panic level because since he got to Boston, it isn't going so well. He can't stay healthy. Can you believe? I guarantee you, this is a surprise to you. He has been in Boston for 3 years. The 2025 season will be his 4th year in Boston. This, outside of Red Sox Nation, I have a feeling this is a surprise for many. And part of the reason is because you never see him out there. It feels like he's maybe only been there for a year or two. Signed a 6-year, $140 million contract. He does have an opt-out after the 2025 season, which he will in no shape pick up. He will lock that back in and make that $25 million in 26 and 27 because we don't know. I mean, and he doesn't know, and nobody knows how much he's actually going to play next year. Now, these $25 million a year at 22.5 this year, then 25 for the next 2 years, doesn't seem like a lot of money. But his value, he's getting crushed. Negative 65.9 is his baseball trade values valuation. Trevor Story, just got to stay healthy, man. Number 6, Anthony Rendon. And this is an extreme panic level situation. I mean, look at this. It is just the same thing year in and year out. The man can't stay on the field. When he is on the field, he's not doing that well. And when he's off the field, he's giving, sound bites that makes everybody cringe. He signed a 7-year, $245 million contract with the Angels. Now, Angel fans, again, there's end in sight. $38.5 million this year and next year, and then you're done and you can move on and try to forget the Anthony Rendon experience ever happened. He carries a negative 67.2 value on his contract. Number 5, it is another extreme panic level or an extreme case, and it is Javi Baez. Tigers fans have wanted to get out of this deal for years now. Look at the OP. Holy cow. I mean, I prepared this. I put this together. It was like an hour or two ago, and just in that small period of time, I'm looking at it again, and you're getting a wow out of me. 671 to 592 to 515. The Tigers are ready to move on. I don't know how he's going to find time on the field next year with this with the Detroit Tigers in 2025. Signed a 6-year, $140 million contract that there are still 3 more years of. $25 million this year, 24 next year, 24 the year after that. No one's going to take it because he can't stay healthy, and when he's out there, it's been really bad. So Javi Baez, he comes in with a negative $69.5 million value on his contract value. Number 4, we're going to take a step back from the extreme. We're going to look at a high panic level case, and that's with Xander Bogarts. Maybe Padres fans, you're a little bit more, maybe you're above the high level. I mean, look, when this contract was signed, it didn't look good, but you hoped that maybe he could be in San Diego what he was in Boston, but he's not doing that. And that's why this is high and trending towards extreme. If you get another year, I don't think we're going to have a regression. I don't think we're going to continue to go down farther into the 600s. But if you're going to have Xander Bogarts in the 700s for his OPS, that's not going to be good enough. And there's still so much time left on this contract. Look how tiny the print is next to me because of how many years are still on this thing. 11 years, $280 million signed, $25.4 million per year from 2025 through 2033. How do you think this is going to go? This is most certainly one of the most untradeable contracts. Not that the Padres are trying to, but you're stuck with a really bad contract here. Negative $84.7 million value on his contract. Number 3, a low panic level or a low risk situation here with Manny Machado. 11 years, $350 million. And I actually don't have anything bad to say because Manny's still holding his own defensively. With the bat, he's still producing. One of the most dangerous bats in that lineup. We cannot say the same thing for Xander Bogarts. That 11 for 350, though, this is not necessarily about what he's been doing to this point. It's more about that he's going to be making $39 million a year when he's 37, 38, 39, 40. And at that point, we will have seen the regression and the fall off. He will have to be a DH. And if he is playing in the field, it's not going to be pretty. The bat will at some point start to regress. You just hope that it's closer to that late 30 stage than anytime soon. He sits with a negative $98.2 million value on his contract. Number 2, it's actually not the guy I thought would be number 1, but you'll understand why the number 1 is who he is. Now, let me add this caveat. This guy, his team, if they had an opportunity to, would absolutely love to trade him. The player that's in at number 1, I don't think his team has any interest in trading him. So just put it that way. So number 2, Kris Bryant. Extreme panic level on the Bryant situation in Colorado. Since coming over to the Colorado Rockies, he hasn't even played 162 games in the 3 seasons combined. And his OPS, what he's done with the bat, has been awful. Kris Bryant is a mess. Signed a 7-year, $182 million contract. Has $27 million a year remaining for the next 4 years. Have fun with that. If he could stay healthy, maybe he'd give you something. But even at this point, look, Bryant's been an up and down guy. He's had some good moments. He's had some bad moments. There's a lot of people that hate Kris Bryant. I actually am not one of those guys. I hate to see him on here. I'm a Kris Bryant guy. For all of the negativity, I don't know what it is. I'm a Kris Bryant guy. I'm rooting for Kris Bryant. I mean, why would you hate him? Right? Why would you hate Kris Bryant? Seems like a nice guy. It's just, needs to be better at baseball. But $27 million a year for what he's been putting out, and now you're getting out of those peak age years. You don't get healthier as you get deeper into your 30s, typically. So, not great. A negative $108 million value on his contract based on Baseball Trade Values Valuator. All right, evaluator. Number 1. I have a feeling you can probably guess the number 1 player. Again, as I said a moment ago, this team, I think, has no interest in trading him. If all of these dollars were set to zero, nobody made anything, it was just a player on a team, it's like a rec league, there would be no interest in trading the number 1 player. There would be interest in the player we just talked about. Number 1 with a low panic level is Mike Trout. The panic level should probably be high, but Mike Trout is an icon. If you're the Angels, he's the draw, he's the franchise, he's the face of the franchise, he's the heartbeat of the team, all of that. So that's why it is low and not any higher than that. The issue, obviously, these are the injuries. Look at the games played. Games played aren't good. Poor Mike Trout. I wish we could get a healthy Mike Trout going. $37 million per year from now through the 2030 season. 12 years on. $426 million contract. He deserved being the richest player when he signed this contract, but injuries and the performance by the Angels as a collective have really been a disappointment as Mike Trout's career has progressed. But you've got 6 more years. This is untradeable. If they wanted to, you can't. You cannot find. Maybe in the last year or two when he's 37, 38, you can find a team that would maybe take it on, or you could split the difference. But Mike Trout comes in at number 1 with a negative 111.9 value on his contract based on baseball trade values. Those are the most untradeable contracts in baseball as it pertains to the evaluation by baseball trade values. And I don't disagree. I do not disagree with them. Now, look, there are some here that there's more trade desire, and we outlined those on the low to rising to high to extreme levels. But if you wanted to, you can't trade Manny Machado. You can't trade Mike Trout. Those contracts are untradeable. Leave your comments down below, everybody. I do appreciate you coming in and spending some time with the channel. BALLCAP Nation, I salute you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for those that made it all the way to the end. As you know by now, there's amazing things for the algorithm, so I appreciate that. As always, everybody, if you haven't, hit the like on the way out. And remember, if it's low, let it go. And if it's high, let it fly. I'll catch you next time.